an important part of understanding energy and the universe was an experience I had with mushrooms. And it wasn't necessarily the experience itself, but I mean, I guess it was, but there was two main things that I remember, and well, three that I took from that experience that I think are really in sync with this idea that everything is energy, and that I am the universe and that my thoughts have power. So I was I wanted to have a deeper relationship with myself and decided to take and ingest a large dose of mushrooms. And there is a chemical in some mushrooms called psilocybin. And the more mushrooms with psilocybin you take, the more interesting your visual experience and internal experience could be. For me, I'm not going to go into the entire story, but the couple of details that I think of when it comes to mushrooms. One was that during my experience, you start to see like everything kind of move, and it's kind of like I don't even think I can explain it right now, but it's kind of like just like everything has this like wave to it. And the way that one could explain that is through quantum physics and energy. And the other part of that, the experience of it, was that I remember just feeling complete love. Mushrooms have this way of removing all the bullshit that you're putting on yourself. It removes everything that you've been telling yourself, everything that the world tells you, that the people around you tell you, that your job tells you, that governments tell you. It takes it all away, and it tells you and shows you and makes you feel who you really are. And it's this connection with everything. And that connection with everything, like I've talked about in my energy video, is that connection with everything is that energy. If everything is energy, there's this unique connection with each other. There's this term in quantum physics called quantum entanglement, which basically means that if particles were together, when they are separated, they still have a link to each other. Now, if you take the Big Bang, for example, every particle was at one point together. This is, in my head, do your own research and watch your own shows. But in my head, that's really what it is. Like, the reason everything is connected, the reason is because of everything is energy. And when you have that connection, the experience of mushrooms helps you feel it. So, I think in movies, they sometimes, like, if you're on mushrooms, you're like hugging the walls and you feel the furniture. And yes, that's true, but it's why you're doing that. Your senses are heightened, but emotionally you're feeling this, and energetically you're feeling this connection of everything. That the difference between your fingerprint and the chair becomes so blurred that you become almost one, because again, everything is energy. It's a different chemical elements and different combination of chemical elements, but at the end of the day, it's all energy. So for me, that experience with mushrooms was a way to feel that a little bit better. And something that really kind of took it home for me, and my understanding of what my of my understanding of my mushroom experience and the universe and how I see the world was I had this shirt that a friend gave me, and it was in the thrift pile. I was gonna give it away. I was gonna donate it. And it was a tie-dye shirt. And you know, in the 70s, tie-dye was a huge deal, right? And when I remember just laying in bed one day and seeing the shirt like laying over a chair, and I was just staring at it. And this was after the psilocybin experience, and I realized like that's what everything looks like when you are looking through the eyes of the universe. Because when you look at something, humans can look at something and it can be one color. People, even humans with color vision, like without color vision, see it as a different color. But when you go to different species, they see it as a different color. So everything is all about perspective when it comes to color. You can say the grass is green, but it depends on who's looking at it, what being is looking at it, whether it's a human or some other species. So truthfully, I believe that everything is every color. It just depends on who's looking at it. And a confirmation of that was the tie-dye shirt. Because during my experience, I remember I was laying in a bed and I was doing it intentionally. Like I wanted to have an experience where I would just relax and see where my thoughts went. I think I was maybe too mindful, because I kept checking in instead of letting myself go wherever I was going to go. So instead of having an experience, I almost managed it too much, which I regret, but that's okay. But when I had my eyes closed, I remember like crying slowly, like softly, and just being able to see all of these colors. And when I looked at this tie-dye shirt, I realized tie-dye is a visual representation of what everything looks like depending on who's looking at it and what lighting. And that was a really cool experience. Now, I don't know if everybody has this experience, and some people may never allow themselves to have an experience like that, and that's totally fine. But for me, it was a really important lesson to be able to understand the visuals of everything. Because at this point, I was already kind of in this mindset of everything being energy, and I wanted to be able to understand it more. And after that experience, and after seeing that tie-dye shirt, I was able to make that connection between a blend of colors and every color being everything, and just what the world looks like. I mean, if we turn off the lights right now, everything is black. Everything is the color black. It lacks pigment. It lacks there's no light shining on it, so we say we can't see what color it is, but it is that one color, right? You can put a color of a filter over it, and now it's another color. We can look at it from a perspective of somebody who has a specific gene mutation where they see colors in a different way. And now that same object may be green to me, but magenta to somebody else. Now we look at the perspective of an animal like a penguin that can see way more colors than we can, and now that object is a different color. So ultimately, everything is about perspective, including color. We are people that we want a direct answer for everything. We want to say, no, this is red, this is green, and that's helpful for things on a basic level when we're making stop signs and traffic lights. But when you understand the other perspectives of the world, other perspectives of different species, just even a different perspective of yourself after taking mushrooms, you start to understand that we don't really know that much. And what we know isn't exactly always it, right? Like, there's so much more to learn and so much more to let go of because of our lack of really comprehending. And when you start to let go of that need to comprehend everything, you start to comprehend more things, because that control isn't looking for the one answer, it's allowing for so many more. And I'm very grateful for having that experience. And if and when you can, you definitely should. It affects people differently. I would say, like, depends on how much you take. Just like every other substance, it depends on how much you take, when you're taking it. If you're somebody who uses other substances, it's going to affect you differently. It may not affect you as much, especially if you use different substances daily, and especially if you use a lot of them. But there's a show on Netflix called How to Change Your Mind, and there is an episode on psilocybin, which I would definitely recommend anyone watching. But do start looking up different experiences. And if the whole reason of me sharing this is about how this relates to energy in the universe, not necessarily to promote usage of psilocybin. So that shouldn't be the takeaway. The takeaway should be that through this experience, I was able to get a deeper understanding of the universe and of our connection to everything. But if you are interested, there are lots of resources that you can find on the internet, especially these days. But yeah, definitely recommend the show How to Change Your Mind. It has other plants on there as well, so definitely recommend.